Kia ora, hello, welcome to the channel Hari Mai. Today I'm going to start another new series of a thing called cover versions. Now, these are cover versions of songs generally that I like, but the other criteria for this will also may include cover versions that are either a bit very unusual or perhaps weird from the original. But mostly I'm just going for cover versions of songs that I really like. It doesn't necessarily mean I think they're better than the original versions. Often the original versions are my favourite, but not always. There are exceptions. Of course, I always give the example of Jimi Hendrix's cover of All Along the Watchtower, originally written by Bob Dylan. I prefer that version, but, you know, if you're a Bob Dylan fan, you always, you know, you'll love the Bob Dylan version and you got to respect the guy because he wrote it, right? But it's just musically and all that, I just prefer that version. It was the version I actually heard first. And so that often influences how you see cover versions. So, yeah, mostly the versions of covers I like. It doesn't necessarily mean I think they're better than the original. In a lot of cases, no. But also I may include, as I said, some that are just very unusual cover versions, really different or a bit weird. But mostly it's just ones I like. So I'm going to start the ball rolling with a song, a cover version of a song most of you will know that was made popular by the heavy rock group Led Zeppelin, and it's one of their earlier releases. I think it's actually off their first album called Dazed and Confused. Now, this version that I'm going to talk about here is by a UK singer called Hannah Williams and her band, The Affirmations. Now, before I show you, or I will show you the cover to this. So here's the cover to the album that it's from, right? Dazed and Confused. So there it is there, from an album by Hannah Williams. And originally, well, the album's called Late Nights and Heartbreak, as you can see on the picture of the cover there. Late Nights and Heartbreak, right? So originally they released this song that they released from their album, was originally released by them in 2016. But recently I've just seen they've done a brand new 10th anniversary of the album, so we're now 2026, and I haven't listened to that version. Possibly it's got extra tracks like often these anniversary albums do. I don't know, but yeah, I originally heard it off their original release, their 2006 album. What was it again? Late Nights and Heartbreak by Hannah Williams and her band, The Affirmations, right? Now, I did a bit of research on this. I always thought the original was written by Led Zeppelin, but in actual fact, that's not the case. So here's a little bit of interesting stuff on background to this song. And Dazed and Confused is a song that was actually written by an American singer-songwriter, Jake Holmes, in 1967. Now, it says here, it was from his debut album in that year called The Above Ground Sound of Jake Holmes. Now, it goes on here, some people concluded that it was about a bad acid trip. Holmes insists that the lyrics refer to the effects of a girl's indecision on ending a relationship. So that's his take on it, the guy that originally wrote it. Now, a bit of interesting thing how this song ended up, you know, eventually being more well known by the version that Led Zeppelin did. But prior to that, the band The Yardbirds, which Jimmy Page was part of before, you know, Led Zeppelin were formed, they took it on. They heard the song and they reworked it. And the Yardbirds actually did a recording of it on an album, Yardbirds 68. But then back in 1968 as well, when Led Zeppelin were formed, with new lyrics and vocal line, it was recorded by Led Zeppelin. Now, you know, it became one of their signature songs, and that's where I first heard it, and most people are probably most familiar with it. And it's interesting to see here that in 2010, Jake Holmes, the original writer of the song, he filed multiple lawsuits against Page for copyright infringement in regards to Dazed and Confused. But in August 2025, the case was settled out of court, with both sides informing the California court they reached a written settlement. The terms and details of the agreement remain confidential, but the settlement resolves the entire matter. So there you go on that. Now, getting back to Hannah Williams and the Affirmations, their cover, which is one I really like, their 2016 version that they put out on their debut album, which again I've forgotten the title of. Let's go back there. It's what's it called again? Let me see it. Their debut album, Late Nights and Heartbreak, from Hannah Williams. Now, just giving you a little bit of info on Hannah Williams and her band, The Affirmations, their band formed around 2015. So when they put this album out, was with their cover of Dazed and Confused. It was only a year later that they released it, right? So they're based in Bristol in the UK. That's where they're based and where they're originally from. And as far as I know, still around today. Just showing, I've got a photo here of the lead singer, Hannah Williams. I'll just bring that up. And that's what she looks like. You'll find various photos of her online with different coloured hair and looking quite different over the years. So anyway, I'm not sure how old that photo is, but that's Hannah Williams, the Bristol, UK, I don't know, soul singer who's done a version with her band, The Affirmations, of Dazed and Confused. So go and check it out. Now, there's probably quite a few versions. I've heard a few. Another one I like, and possibly like more than this version, but they're both good, is by another, now, are they a UK or American band? I get confused. There's a band called Main Squeeze. I think they could be UK, but I'm not sure. They've done a very interesting version in it. of it. And I'm going to talk about them and that cover on a future video, which I won't go into the details of yet. So anyway, that's my first of my new series right here, called Cover Versions. Now, so go and check it out. Hannah Williams and the Affirmations with their version of Dazed and Confused off their debut album, Late Nights and Heartbreaks, which you can find all over the place, including Bandcamp. Okay, now on to number 2 of my cover versions of songs I like or I find interesting or are a bit different or a bit weird, whatever. Number 2 is a song by, a cover of a song by the band Scary Pockets. Now, they've done a cover of the song Levitating. Now, this song, you just show you, I think the song is originally written by Dua Lipa, and if I said that right, and a few other songwriters involved in that, but released by her. I think it was released by her in 2020, possibly. But anyway, here's the this version, which came out by Scary Pockets. Hang on a second. That's it there. Okay. That's what the cover of the album looks like. And the album's called Jeff, right? And Scary Pockets are a sort of a group of individuals, American-based, who bring in the certain permanent members of the band, but they bring in lots of guest people singing, and in this case, a woman called Julia Nunes, who sings the main lead vocals on here. Now, have I got info on Scary Pockets? I probably failed on that one, aside from what I've just told you, but yeah, the original song Levitating, as I said, was released by English singer Dua Lipa, and it's from her second studio album, Future Nostalgia, in 2020. So this version by Scary Pockets with guest singer Julia Nunes came out in 2022, so 2 years later, their version, and was released on an album they released. There's the cover there, that's called Jeff. So yeah, now this, it's I kind of, you know, the song was quite commercially and quite popular. I didn't actually know it from the original version, but I was at a gig of a jazz group, and they played it, and they kind of jazzed and funked it up a bit, and I thought, and I knew in my mind I probably had heard it, you know, in the background on somebody's radio, but I myself hadn't, you know, gone and heard it or paid attention to it that much. And then hearing a live version that I liked, I thought, this song's pretty cool. And then all of a sudden I discovered this version by Scary Pockets from their 2022 album, Jeff. I wish I had more info about Scary Pockets, but I don't. But they're renowned as a group that does different, they get covers. They're American-based, and there's 2 or 3, you know, founder members, but they get a lot of guest musicians in, such as this woman here, Julia Nunes, to sing on on their take on levitating. Now this version, Scary Pockets often kind of, not always, but they sometimes sort of funky things up a bit, or and have things perhaps a little bit more soulful than the original that may not have been as funky or as soulful. They tend to go that way a little bit. So I really like this version. And I probably haven't heard the original enough to know whether I can say which version I prefer, so that would be unfair. But this version's pretty cool. And a little bit about Julia Nunes, the singer here, because I didn't know much about her. A little bit about Julia Nunes. Oh, hang on, here's a bit about, before I go into that. It says here, Scary Pockets is an American funk musical collective formed in Los Angeles in 2017, founded and led by keyboardist Jack Conte and guitarist Ryan Lerman. So they're the original founders. The group is known for releasing weekly funk-orientated reinterpretations of popular songs, featuring a rotating cast of session musicians and vocalists. Okay. Now another bit of interesting stuff I also found on this. There was, so as I said, Dua Lipa was there, and several other people, and she released it where it became popular. That song was supposedly the original writers of it, but I recently found some other info. This is interesting about a lot of songs, you just don't know. That in March 2022, a reggae band called Article Sound System, they filed a suit against Dua Lipa and her label Warner's, alleging copyright infringement, asserting similarities between Levitating and their 2017 song Live Your Life, and alleged that the producers knew the song before Levitating was in production. But in June 2023, Article Sound System moved to drop the first suit after a judge ruled there was no evidence to suggest that Lipa or her co-writers had heard Live Your Life prior to the creation of Levitating. So I've never heard this other song. Less than a week after the first suit, a second suit was filed by songwriters L. Russell Brown and Sandy Linzer, who claimed that Levitating infringed on the here we go, the 1977 disco song Wiggle and Giggle All Night by Corey Day. On March 2025, the Brown and Linzer suit was dismissed also by the court, referring to the descending scale at issue. The judge wrote that the similarity between the two works only concerned non-copyrightable elements. So, two suits. So it looks like they both failed on that, and they've ruled that, you know, Dua Lipa's version is authentically, supposedly, you know, an original right one. So there's the background on that song, Levitating. And interesting, once again, Levitating was Scary Pockets, God, released on their album Jeff in 2022? I think I did, 2022, I think. Yes. Just a little bit about Julia Nunes, who guested on this. Now, I didn't know anything about her. Here's a photo of her here. She's not normally a part of Scary Pockets. That's her. So it seems like the music she does is quite a bit different from what I've read here. Have a look. Julia Nunes is an American singer-songwriter from Fairport, New York. Her career has progressed online through her videos of pop songs on YouTube, in which she sings harmony with herself and plays acoustic instruments, primarily the ukulele, guitar, melodica, and piano. So, don't know much about her own music, but she's released 6 studio albums, 1 EP, 11 singles, and 6 music videos. Yeah, so it seems like she's not really, as I said, the Scary Pockets do funk orientated. It seems, from what I can make out, that's not usually her style, but she pulls this song off well, I thought. Okay, let's get on to number 3 of cover versions. And let's see, where are we up to? So the next one I've got here is going to be, let's see, believe it or not, it's going to be another Scary Pockets. I don't usually try and put, when I'm talking about songs or albums or whatever, 2 artists the same on it, but this is the way it is. The way I'm going to do this series, because I've started 2 other series for those of you who have been watching, and each time it's going to be 5 songs. So this series here, of my first one of the cover versions, I'm going to do this in actually chronological order of when I found this music, right? So it's going back to the first ones that I discovered and started making lists of. So I just happened to find 2 Scary Pockets in a row, or close together. So everybody knows the song, or most people do, because it was a pop hit. Well, maybe not some younger people. The song Sledgehammer, right? By Peter Gabriel. A great song. In fact, Sledgehammer I would rate, and will this be another series I might do? I don't know. Thinking about it on, my all-time favourite songs. Because Sledgehammer by Peter Gabriel is one of my all-time favourite songs. I can't even... It's just so solid, and the original music video, not that the video matters, because they're in early days of MTV. It leaves so much space, but it's so groovy and it's so solid, and oh man, I just love it. It's just a song I basically can never get sick of. When it comes on, I hear it, I usually turn it up because I love it, But this version is interesting, by Scary Products. Scary Products, did I say? Scary Pockets, right? There it is, off an album they did. There's Scary Pockets, the band that I've just told you a little bit about. And on this it features Ben Barnes. Now, Ben Barnes is another guest singer like Julie was on the other song. And this guy, Ben Barnes, is a guest singer. He's not normally with Scary Pockets, right? So, what can I tell you about this? Hang on. So, yeah, they had a few other interesting people on here. Says here the funky, because this is a funky, as I said before, Scary Pockets are quite a funky based band and who do cover versions. And they made it with the help of guest vocalist Ben Barnes, along with Nick Campbell on bass, Abe Laboriel Jr., a legend, on drums, and of course his dad is the famous bassist, and background vocals, Kerry Frank on keys, Ariel Posen and Ryan Lerman on guitar, and Mario Jose on background vocals, right? And so I think it's 2022 their version came out. And just to show you a photo of the singer Ben Barnes. Here he is here. And interesting enough, Ben Barnes is probably, I did a bit of research on him. He's more known as an actor and quite a background in musical theatre. So this sort of stuff is not something he does a lot of, but he pulled it off. And this is even though, in this case, it's hard for me to go past the original. I just love it so much. But this is an interesting version. It's again, Scary Pockets have made, I'm having trouble with this word, Scary Pockets have made it a funkier version, slightly, it's a bit more up-tempo than the original Peter Gabriel version. It's an interesting version, but I still prefer the original. But this is a very interesting version that they've done. All right. And what else can I say? Do you want to know anything about Ben Barnes? A bit more, maybe. Got some guff on him here. Hang on. Yeah, it says here he's an English actor and singer born in 1981. Best known for his roles as Prince Caspian in the Chronicles of Narnia film series. Well, I don't know those, but for all of you who know it. So yeah, as I say, he's more known as that. What else? He has the version of this version of Sledgehammer was recorded in a couple of takes at Los Angeles East West Studios in 2022. Now, I can't remember when the original came out. I haven't got that info here, but it's quite a while back. Would it even be in the 90s, Sledgehammer? I think it could be. I haven't got the info on that, but I think it has. Okay, so there you go. Another interesting cover version. That was my number 3. So we're doing 5, so let's get to number 4. Now, number 4 is the song originally written by Creedence Clearwater Revival called Green River. Now, some of you younger people may not know this. It was back in the day when I was a teenager. I wasn't a big Creedence fan, but I heard one of my friends had one of their albums. Was it Cosmo's Factory? I don't know, but they used to play it a lot, and it's where I think I first heard the song. And I think back in those days, when I was 15 or 16, there were some live bands around that I got to see, because I used to get out when I was quite young to gigs, even in Auckland when I grew up there, and see bands do covers of this song. So I was familiar with it in that sense. But this version is, I I can't sing for shit. Take me back down to on a green river. That's probably no help. But you older ones probably know it. I don't think it did go up the charts, but not like to number one or anything. But this version that I found and that I really like, and again, it's not, is it, do I prefer it to the original? Don't know about that. This is just, it's very similar, but it's a woman singing it, because it was a guy singing it. Was it John Fogerty? And this is a woman called Eileen Jewell, and that's from her album there, Green River, right? So Eileen Jewell. Now, what do we know about her? Well, she put this out as a single. There were 2 songs. Could you call that an EP? But she's covered Summertime as well in 2020, right? Now, a bit about, here's a photo of her, what she looks like. Hang on. There she is. Eileen Jewell, the woman who's covered Green River here that we're discussing. Right, that's what she looks like. Now, a bit about Eileen. It says here, she was born in April 1979. She's an American singer-songwriter from, I don't know how to say this, Boise, B-O-I-S-E, Idaho. She has released 9 studio albums and 1 live album. Her musical style crosses several areas of Americana music, ranging from blues to gospel, country, rockabilly, and honky-tonk. It says here, given during an on-stage introduction at a show in Boston by a fellow musician, she is taking the title Queen of the Minor Key. So there you go. Known for that. Well, someone's sort of given that as a nickname. So she's 47 now. This was released in 2020, so she would have been, what, around 41 then. She recorded that version. So that's that. And there it is, Green River. A single release she did. It calls it a single, but there's 2 songs listed there, right? With Summertime being the other one. I guess that's a version of Summertime. The original Summertime, don't know for sure. But anyway, that's it. So that's number 4. Now the last one, number 5 of my new series of cover versions that I'm going to talk about now is the famous song by I forgot. Of course, Sunshine of Your Love, that we all know from the band Cream. And it's one, this is a song that they say it's like smoke on the water, Sunshine of Your Love. It's people who are learning to play guitar often learn this song. It's a classic, but this version here was also recorded way back, and it's by a group I'd never heard of before, and I don't think they're still around, because they're also from the era of the late 60s, I think, when this was written. And it's from an album released in 1969 by a British UK band called Rotary Connection, right? And here's from an album called Oh, sorry, it's their 4th album, and it's called Songs, and their cover of Sunshine of Your Love. That's what the album cover looks like, right? Now, Rotary Connection, I've got a photo of them somewhere. Let's have a look. It's probably the best I can do, yeah. Yeah. I've got 2 women in the band, and one of them's the famous singer Minnie Riperton, was also part of this band at one stage. I think there's a couple of women. Oh no, there might be 2 women in that photo. I think this could be Minnie Riperton here. Where am I looking? Yeah, over to the side here. Yeah, I think that's her. They called them an American psychedelic soul band, right? Formed in Chicago in 1966, so they go back. And they were active to 1973. Now this version, I found it interesting because I've heard a lot of cover versions of Sunshine of Your Love, but I've never heard a version like this. It almost sounds, it's got a kind of orchestral kind of almost sound to it. You know, originally it was written in 1967 by the guys in Cream, you know, the band Cream, and it was from their second album, Disraeli Gears. But Rotary Connection, funny name, eh? Rotary Connection's version came out in 1969. Jack Bruce and Eric Clapton were the original composers from Cream. Can you find anything more about Rotary Connection? The only other person I can see on their band lineup members is Phil Upchurch. Well, I don't think he's a famous American black musician who was known both for guitar and bass, and was a very, very skilled muser. He's listed as on here. But as I say, it's from their 4th album. Called Songs, released in 1969. So go and have a listen to that. It's pretty interesting. It's totally different from, you won't even initially recognize it at first until it really gets going. It's such a different version. So I just thought it was quite an interesting one to put on. And do I like it better than the original? No, the original's just so good. And I've heard some other interesting cover versions, and that might be something we'll talk about on another video in the future. So that's it. I hope you enjoy this new series. I'm going to do more of cover versions, along with my other new series, 2 other new series that I've started doing, and I'm going to do those. And all of these series are going to feature 5 songs, right? I know you might say, why aren't you doing albums? Well, the reason I'm not doing albums is that people don't, you know, the way we are with these days, and I know streaming's got probably a lot to blame for that, but it's also the way music's released. It's quite released differently, that people are more listening to songs rather than albums. But albums, you can listen to them as well, and I still do quite a lot. But so I'm mainly focused on songs, because most of the time when I talk about music on here, I don't want well, there will be times when I talk about albums. I don't want to talk about... I often find with albums, except for really good concept albums, that there's often tracks on it I don't like, and I'd rather talk about music I like, and it's easier with songs. And that's the way we're exposed to a lot of music these days. And even us older ones who probably don't listen to albums as much as we used to, unless you're a staunch, vinyl only person or CD only, and you don't do any streaming, and you listen to it, that's how you do your music, then you're probably more still an album person. But I don't think that is as common as people who listen to mostly songs initially. But, a song, if you like a song, I usually prolong a song if it's by a new or an older artist. If I like it, I'll go and check the whole album out. I'll go and listen to the whole album as well. If it's interesting enough, even with groups that I've never heard of before, if it's that good, I'll go, I'm going to check more of these guys out, so I'll do that. But anyway, that's how I'm going to cover it with these. It's going to be mostly songs. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments, this new series of cover versions, that I'm going to do more of them. So enjoy your day. It's Sunday here in Te Whanganui Tara, Wellington, Aotearoa, New Zealand, and it's almost about coming up to 4 p.m, right? What are we? I don't even know the date today. July the 26th, 2026. So I'll try and get this posted up today. And I look forward to talking to you, or whatever comes up on the next video. I'll just say this at the end. I went out to an interesting gig last night at the Rogan Vagabond, my favourite venue in Wellington, and saw a new band that I'd heard about, knew nothing about them, and they come under the name, it's a woman's name, is it Eileen Allen? Oh my God, I can't believe I mucked this up. Hang on a sec, I'll tell you in 2 seconds. Where are we? Hang on. I got that totally wrong. Emily Ellis. So last night I saw the Emily Ellis band, right? So Emily Ellis is the lead singer. I didn't know anything about them except that they did all original music, and it had kind of R&B, soul, funk kind of elements to it, right? And I went and I was pleasantly surprised and really enjoyed them. And I got talking to the lead singer, Emily, and also the keyboardist a little bit, and a little bit the bass player. And they're all lovely people, and the music was great, and they had a good crowd there. And so keep a lookout for these guys. I believe they have released a couple of songs. I don't know whether you can find them on Bandcamp or where, but they're a Dunedin-based band. They've moved to, just this year, they've moved to Whanganui, Tara, Wellington. And so now they're based here, just this year. And that was their first kind of headlining gig they did last night. I think they've done a support gig before that here. They've got a new drummer, so they didn't bring their drummer from Dunedin. And they've also added a brass section from here, I believe. I don't know if they had one in Dunedin. So that's interesting. I think they're a 7-piece. So they've got trombone, saxophone, keys, guitar, bass, drums, and lead vocals. Great band. I really enjoyed them, and I think they've got, a bit of a future there. Let's hope they stay together, and it's great to see them, doing all their own original music. Love it. So keep a lookout for the, what did I say? Emily Ellis. Get it right. Emily Alice Band, or, keep a lookout for them. Go and see them again. I'm not sure when their next gig is. Or go and see if you can find their music online, or I don't know if they've got tactile versions out. I don't know. But I'll also, at some stage, be chucking up some live footage from that gig. Haven't sorted that out, so keep a lookout for that as well, and that will give you some idea of how they are live. So this is Noel saying goodbye. Ka kite. See you on the next one.